I made a video the other day called Spend a Chunk of Your Life Being Wholly Devoted to Something. And in that video, I talked about the benefits of having periods of your life, whether long periods or short periods, where you just go all in and completely dedicate yourself to a specific goal or hobby or skill that you're pursuing. And I wanted to expand on that a bit more with this video to really stress the importance of working hard on your passions. I think most of us are interested in self improvement, especially if you're watching this channel or follow me on Tumblr. And if that's the case, then you probably have a goal in your life that is quite difficult to achieve, and it may require a significant amount of work for you to achieve it. This could be going back to school, getting certifications, learning to speak a language, starting a business, losing a substantial amount of weight, or anything else similar to that. If you are part of the majority, then these goals are likely something that you've had on your mind for a while now, maybe even several years. But the amount of work required of you to complete it either has led to you continuously putting it off year after year after year, or if you have started it before, falling off the wagon and ultimately quitting for a long period of time before restarting and failing to stick to it time after time. I like to believe that most of our failures in this regard are not due to being stupid. I think we tend to be intelligent enough to actually figure out what needs to be done and having a solid plan in place. What's normally the culprit behind our failures is simply shying away from the hard work needed to complete the tasks at hand. Partly because our passions are not things in our lives that are necessary requirements. It's not a job that's paying your bills, meaning that if you don't put in the work, then you run the risk of homelessness. These are usually something that can be considered an extracurricular in our lives. We don't technically have to get fit, right? We don't have to speak French. Even if you were to move to France, you could get by without learning the language. People immigrate to countries every day, and even after 20 years, they still haven't learned how to speak the language. It happens all the time. So, because we don't have any real tangible pressure on our necks to work hard at these things, putting in that extra work can feel draining and we become averse to it. You're already spending so much time and energy on things that do have tangible pressure, like work, school, taking care of kids, or spending time with loved ones, for example. So it's no wonder that the thought of studying Japanese every day is extremely exciting in your head, but in reality, you only touch your language app when you're fired up from your New Year's resolutions, and by January 5th, it's been abandoned once again. If this is something you really care about, a passion you truly want to make a reality and enjoy the life it will bring you, then I'm sorry, but there's only one solution. You have to work hard on your passions and put in the hours necessary to get what you want. Part of the struggle is sitting down to plan out how long it will take to reach the end goal. And if your passion is something that's really major, it will likely take several months or several years. That's so much of a commitment, but it's important to not let that derail you. The time will pass by anyway, so you might as well reach that day with the accomplishment you seek. Like, if something takes 5 years, whether you do it or not doesn't really matter. 5 years will arrive anyway. You can either reach that day with the joy that you finally have what you want, or you can still write it on your vision board as something you want to accomplish someday. You can continue complaining about how much time it will take and be annoyed about it, even though you could have gotten it by now rather than delaying it further and further. On the flip side, if it's something you truly care about, it doesn't matter if it takes you a million years to get to it, right? As long as you do eventually have it, right? That's true, but only if you actually get there. And the thing is, most people don't. Most people abandon their dreams after so much time has gone by because it feels silly to keep writing the same thing as a New Year's resolution over and over and over again, year after year, knowing that at some point you're pretty much just lying to yourself. Most people come up with excuses for why it hasn't happened yet, and they can officially abandon their dreams. Like, oh, kids learn languages better than adults, so it's not really possible for me to get fluent anyway. Or, oh, I used to want to be a musician, but I don't even trust the music industry anymore, so I don't really have a reason to learn guitar now if I'm not going to use it for anything. But these excuses are only satisfactory temporarily. You never actually release that desire from your heart, not fully. It'll always be there just below the surface, making you consider picking it back up again, Googling places to get lessons, or checking out new apps. Even though you, once again, don't go through with it, it's just proof that the passion still lives inside of you. It doesn't have to be this way. I really don't want it to be that way for you. It took me a while, but I finally learned a very, very important lesson in my life, and that is to stop treating my passions as if they are low priority negotiables. My heart yearns for them for a reason. I genuinely get so much life satisfaction from being bilingual and knowing how to play instruments, for example. I feel so good when I stick to my fitness goals and make things happen. When you make a plan for how to achieve the things you want and make it a true requirement on your to do list every day, that's how you make progress. There's no parent or boss or professor that's going to force you to review your Spanish flashcards or get through your classic literature reading list or write that screenplay. You have to tell yourself that refusal to do so is not an option. I think letting your dreams die is a big part of why people feel dissatisfied in their personal lives. You only get by doing the things that are required of you. And tell yourself that you didn't do the optional passions because it took away too much time from this or that. And maybe you can feel all right about your decision for a while, but only for so long can you cope yourself to sleep at night knowing that you self sabotaged so much potential away. It's really not too late to change things around and make this attempt be the successful one. Gather the resources you need, break your goal down into chunks, figure out how much you can reasonably work on every day, and make it as much of a priority as your other responsibilities are. No more should you be spending hours a day on your phone when your heart and mind and body are yearning for you to become a gym rat or finally learn enough Japanese to watch your favorite anime without subtitles. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will take so much time. Yes, it will require sacrifices, but the satisfaction of becoming the person you want to become will outweigh that tenfold. The pleasure of being proficient in a difficult skill will outweigh that tenfold. Again, there's no one holding your hand and making sure that you get these things done. But as someone who goes to bed at night pleased with myself because I make sure I have gotten those things done, I can assure you that it's a great feeling. The hard work that goes into making your passions a reality will not only feel good, but will change your life forever.